Hola. All right, so this will be a live stream, so I apologize if there's any weird animal noises. That is out of my control. So if you are interested in just doing one verb, I'm going to do all three in one video this time. So I'm just going to start with a quick overview of all three, and then if you decide you just want Dar or Mantener or Estar, you can just skip ahead. I'll try and put timestamps down below, but you can just fast forward and go to the verb you need. So when we talk about all three verbs, in your brain, you should realize always like what the main problems are. The nice thing with Dar, Mantener, and Estar is they have the same two problems. So I'm just actually going to do Tener just because keep in mind that Mantener is simply Tener with man in front. So Dar, Estar, and Tener have the same two general problems, and that is the yo form and the preterite. So the yo form, think to yourself, or write yourself, even better, as I'm writing it. So think to yourself, what is the yo form in the present tense of those three verbs? Immediately, your brain should think, oh, okay, well, the yo form's wrong, which means that that is going to affect all of my subjunctive forms because subjunctive is yo form, take off the o, opposite ending. So my yo forms are doy, estoy, and tengo. So I can't do take off the O for the first two, which means that I'm going to have a secondary problem, which is the opposite ending. Now, the nice thing is they look really similar. So the opposite ending for dar is day, and you put an accent because you don't want it to mean of or from, and is stay because you don't want it to mean this. So that's why those both have accents on them. And tango, actually, you can do the normal process, and that's take off the O, add the opposite ending. So tango in the opposite form is tanga. All right, I'm going to hold on to that for a sec. The other problem that I just mentioned is the preterite. And preterite in general is one of the hardest tenses to learn, which is why we spent 3 weeks on it in the book. So when it comes to the preterite, when it comes to the preterite, they are all three highly irregular. So again, I'm thinking of all three at the same time. So I've got dar, estar, and tener. Now, here's another little helpful tidbit. Estar and tener look almost the exact same. The only difference is 2 letters. So when I think of the yo form, I'm going to start with the yo form of all of these. Okay. The yo form of estar is estuve. The yo form of tener is tuve. So they are very similar. The only difference is the S in front of estuve. And then dar looks like an IR verb the whole time. So the way you remember dar in the preterite is that the next letter in all of the endings is an I because it looks a lot like an IR verb. So for example, we just wrote the yo form, which is D. So if I just told you the next letter is always an I, can you extrapolate? Ooh, fancy word. Can you figure out what the next form would be? So we've got D, 2 form, D stay, LA form dio, demos, dieron. Okay. One nice thing is that none of these forms have accents because they're highly irregular. So we're just going to skip the accents on all of these. And you notice the first letter in all of them is the letter I because it looks more like an IR verb. So that's dar. When it comes to estar and tener, they look super similar. So if we start with tuve, what would the 2 form of that be? The LA form, the nosotros form, and the ellos form. Okay, so we've got tuve as the yo form. Keep in mind that in the preterite, the yo form does not end with an O like you think that it would in the present tense, so don't put tuvo for the yo form. So we've got tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvieron. A couple things. There's no accents on any of these, just like estar, just like dar. And if I wanted to do estar, literally the only difference is the es in front. So this would be like estuve, estuviste, estuvo, estuvimos, estuvieron. Okay, so in summary, the problems that we have are the yo form, the opposite ending in 2 of them, and the preterite, number 2. And when it comes to number 2, the preterite, there's no accents, and they all 3 look like IR verbs, including dar. Okay, so I'm going to start with dar. And so if you don't need dar, if you're going to skip, you can go ahead and skip. So I'm going to start with dar because, in my opinion, dar is one of the trickier ones. It's got accents sometimes it doesn't. So I'm going to practice in the AOS form. And so what you can do is just practice with me. One of those. So you just practice with me. I highly recommend that you actually practice writing it and not just think to yourself, because you're aware that it's no partial credit. So it's better to really see if you knew how to write it, not just how you thought that you write it. So I'm going to do the AOS form. So if we're starting in the present tense is actually just normal. So it looks like an AR verb. We're going to do 3 at a time and then check. So then go ahead and do the preterite form. The preterite form is the one we just practiced. That looks like an IR verb. And then you're going to write the imperfect form, which is the nice and easy one because it always ends in aba or ia. In this case, we have an AR verb. You should be able to pick which one that would be, aba or ia. So you can pause me if you're not there yet, but here's the AOS form. So we've got done, because it's just an AR verb in the present, dieron, because it looks like an IR verb, and daban, because we have to pick the aba ending since it's an AR verb. So we've got daban. Okay. Now I'm going to think about numbers 4 and 5. So 4 and 5 are the multiple part answers, because number 4 is they are going to give, and number 5 is they are giving. So they are going to give has 3 parts. The most common error I'm seeing at this point is not conjugating the first verb correctly, because you have to pay attention that you're picking the right person. So make sure you're writing they are going to give. Your number 5 has 2 parts. You're going to write they are, part 2, giving. Okay, you know it has 2 parts because you need the word are and you need the word giving. So again, pause me if you need to. So they are going to give. Van is the they are going to give a dar. And they are giving. Here's the they are, which is están. Dando is giving. Guys, for number 5, since it's the ing form, you know that the second part has to have that like NDO ending. So again, the most common error I'm seeing on number 5 is accidentally writing están dado. But dado does not have the letter N in it, so it cannot be the ing form. So we know that that can't be correct. All right. The commands should be your favorite because the commands can't change no matter what person we give you. So I'm going to do all 5 in a row. Okay, so I'm going to start, just to keep it easier for the video sake, I'm going to start with, I'm going to do usted, 2 and 2. So positive, negative, usted, 2 and 2. Okay, so what is the positive usted command for dar? Remember that the only command out of the 5 commands that we know that is a regular ending is the 2 one, because that is bossing our friend around, and that's the easiest kind of person to boss around is your friend. So I don't have to change the ending for my friend. But for the positive usted form, which is what we're starting with, that's not your friend. So you need opposite ending. Then you're doing the negative usted form, the positive 2 form, which is the normal ending, and then the negative 2 form. Okay, so I did positive, negative, usted, 2, 2. So think that through. And then the only other command we have is let's. And we know that let's is the nosotros command. So we're just putting the command in the nosotros form, opposite ending. So pause me if you need to. But these are 5 points that you can know you're going to get these 5 no matter what quiz you get, because it doesn't matter if it's yo to LAF. Okay, so here's the order I did. So I did the 2 usted ones first. So this positive usted is day, because that's the opposite ending of dar. Okay, so day with an accent. The negative usted, remember, negative usted is super easy because it's the exact same as positive usted. The only difference is no. The positive 2 command, this is my friend, is the regular ending, so it's just da. Does not need accent because it doesn't mean anything else. And then the negative 2 is just the same as the negative usted, but I can't make it look the exact same, or how do you tell the difference? So we add the letter S, which is the 2 form. Okay, so we add this S. Now you should notice that the accent fell off because this word doesn't mean anything else, like this one means of or from. So we only need an accent on day, not any other form of day. Okay, and then down here was our nosotros one. And so that's opposite nosotros. And so that's demos because it's the opposite ending in the nosotros form. And so that means let's give, because I'm like commanding us to give. Let's give. Okay. So there's your commands in order. Get those guys down. Five points down. All right. And then finishing up with the last 5 on the quiz. We have more now. Tomorrow you're going to have, whenever you take this, number 2, you're going to have an extra form. Okay, so I'm going to start with the subjunctive because you should be good at subjunctive by now. So espero que. So the quiz says espero que ... they give. All right, so it's they give, but there's a trigger in front, which means it can't be the regular they give. So think about what that's going to be. The next one I want you to write is it is given. And because I'm saying it is, and I'm saying the word given, you know you need 2 words. I have, and you have the given. And then the new one is they had given. So remember, this is the past tense form of that word haber, which means have in this case. So think about, before I tell you the answer, what that might be. All right, so again, just to repeat, checking your answers if you're studying with me, we did espero que, they give, it is given, they have given, and they had given. Okay, so if you do not have 3 words in a row that end in auto or edo, something's wrong. Because I said the word given 3 times, and the word given is the same word across the board. So let's think about what that is. All right, so espero que is a trigger, which means the they give has to be opposite ending, because I hope that they give money, but they may not. So den. It is given. Here's my it is because it's one thing. So I'm just picking a star and then given, gado. That's the word given, okay? Which means down here when I say they have given, here's my they have because this is my form of haber. Here's my given. This one looks almost the exact same, but now it's they had given. This is the past tense of this one. So this one's present tense, this one's past tense. Okay? So that's DAR in a nutshell. And that was not a quick nutshell, so I apologize. But if you're here, you're probably here for a reason. And at the end of the day, this is probably one of the better ways to get your studying in, is to actively do it, to have somebody checking it with you, and to hear it being explained all at the same time. So you're literally writing, you're hearing it, you're seeing it. There's not a better way that you can study. There's other ways you can study in addition to this, but I think that this is a good way to get many inputs at the same time. So at this point in the video, I'm going to move on to Estar. So again, if you don't need a star, I'll see you at a different verb. But Estar, we're going to practice in the 2 form. So I'm going to go back to the beginning. So I'm starting back over with the present tense. Okay, so you're writing the phrase you are. Okay, so you are is the present tense. We're going to do 3 at a time. So the next one you would be writing is that really irregular looking guy. In the 2 form, you're writing you were. So we did you are. Now we're doing you were. And then number 3 is the imperfect. So that's the you used to be in the past. You used to be. So the number 2 is the weird looking one. That's the irregular one. Number 3 is the easy abaia guy because that's the imperfect ending. So pause me if you need to. So the 2 forms are as following. You are is estás, just, good old como estás. The second one is estuviste. So remember, this one looks just like tener because tener would be tuviste, and this is estuviste. And then the last one is the easy guy because that's the abaia form. And since it's an AR verb, we're going to pick aba. So we did estabas. Okay. And numero 5 is you are going to be. So think about how many parts you should have for you are being, and then you are going to be. Pause me if you need to. So here's you are being. Estás estando. Yes, that sounds weird, but that's because estás is the you are, and this is being in that ing form, which is ando. Okay, so ando is the ing, and you know that you need ando, okay, because it's ing. And this one is you are going to be. So vas a estar. All right, so there's that. So that's actually totally regular there. Okay, your 5 commands in a row, we're going to do them the same as the last order if you did DAR with me. So we're going to do positive and negative usted, positive and negative to, and then let's. All right, so again, think about your one that has a regular ending, just one, and all the rest, the other 4, have opposite ending. So for my positive usted, think about it. Positive, or is it opposite or regular ending, accent or no? Positive usted. And then negative usted is super easy because you just did positive usted. And then positive to, remember that is your friend one. So is that regular or opposite? And then negative to looks just like negative usted, but you have to put it, you have to make it look like the to form. So you're going to have to add something to it. And then the last one is let's, like nosotros, let's be. So you know it can't be normal ending because we're commanding a group of people. So get your command straight before you check. Positive usted, negative usted, positive to, negative to, nosotros. Okay, so here's what we got. Lots of accents with a star because a star can mean other things and just has a lot of accents going on. So make sure you have este with an accent. The negative usted is simply just the positive usted, no este. Look at my positive to. That is my normal ending from the LA form. So that's está. And then my negative to is no estés. Okay, you see how it looks just like the negative usted, the only difference being this S, which indicates that this is the to form one and this is the usted form one. Okay, and then my nosotros ending is estemos because that's the opposite ending for an AR verb in the nosotros form. Okay, so those are my 5 commands that I should be getting down because they're not going to change. All right, and finally we do the final part of the quiz, which has got 4 things. So we're going to say es bueno que you are. So because I'm saying es bueno que, we should hear, ooh, that's a trigger. So my next word's going to be have to be in the subjunctive, the opposite ending. Number 2 after that, we're going to say we're only going to say the word ben, like B-E-E-N, because we cannot say the phrase it is been. We can say it has been, but we cannot say the phrase it is been. So I literally just want you to write the word been. And the word been is the past participle, and that's a fancy word for auto-ito form. So what is the auto-ito form of estar? Which you're going to use in the last 2 because you're going to write you have been. Listen, that's the same word, been, which means you're just going to use it again. And then our new one, you had been. You had been. So the word been gets repeated 3 times. So check yours here. So this es bueno que triggered my opposite ending for the to form. So estés with an accent. Estar pretty much always has accents except for in the nosotros form and the present tense yo form and the preterite. There's not accents a handful of times, but when it comes to opposite ending, they all have accents except for nosotros. So we want this guy up there. Estado. So the auto-ito form of estar is estado, and that word means been. So this is you have, that's the as, been. This is you had been, okay, using the past tense form of as. Okay, so that's the start. And we'll summarize all 3 real quick at the end, or you can always just go back to the beginning as well. All right, so now Mantener really quickly, which is just tener. So I'm just going to ignore the man. But if you do tener, of course, you'll actually get the verb mantener. So you would need to write the man in front. But we're just going to focus on that root verb, which is tener, and we're going to do it. We're going to do it in the nosotros form because for some reason the nosotros form can be a little trickster. So the first thing you're going to write is we maintain. I'm actually just going to write the whole thing, so I will not be lazy here. I'm going to write the whole thing. So I'm going to write the man too. So we maintain. Present tense, nosotros form. It's not in the boot, so we maintain. Then number 2 is we maintained, which is the preterite. So we know that's the number 2 is the irregular guy. So we maintained. It looks really similar to what we just practiced with the star in the preterite. And then number 3 is the imperfect. We used to maintain. Oops. We used to maintain. And that's the nice and easy guy because we're not going to pick aber this time. What are we going to pick instead? So think to yourself, nosotros form. You should only have a problem in number 2. Okay, so number 1 is mantenemos. There's no weirdness because it's not in the boot. So like, for example, the yo form is mantengo, mantienes, mantiene, mantenemos, mantienen. But this guy has no issues because it's in the nosotros form. Keep in mind that this one is our super irregular one. So it's mantuvimos, just like estar would be estuvimos. So that's the only difference. So this is mantuvimos. And then this guy, we can't do aba because it's not an AR verb. So we have the iamos. So manteníamos. And remember, if you pick ia, it always has an accent. Okay, so aba only has an accent in nosotros, but ia has an accent all the time. Okay, please get your commands down because those are the ones that won't change. So the usted command. Now, this time, because the yo form has an O on it, you can go, or you need to go back to the yo form, take off that O, and do opposite ending. So when you're thinking of your positive usted command, that's how you should be forming it. Yo form, take off the O, opposite ending. And then our negative usted is just our positive usted. Now, our positive 2 is a super irregular exception. And you guys learn these in Spanish too, but man, they don't get used a ton. So it's totally fine if they have flown out of your brain. So the positive 2 command, if you remember it and you studied, go ahead and write it. Otherwise, I'll tell you in a second. And then the negative 2 command, remember, our negative 2 command is just our negative usted command with one extra little piece to make it the 2 form. And then our let's command is the nosotros opposite form. My goodness. Okay, nosotros opposite form. So you should have a lot of G's going on because if you started with the yo form in mantengo, that would occur. Okay, so here's my 5 commands. So the positive usted is mantenga. Mantengo, take off the O, mantenga. My negative usted is simply no mantenga. But you see my 2 form down there? This guy? Manten, with an accent on the E. Because the irregular form is 10, and then I stick my man in front of it. So chicos, you're just going to have to memorize this one. Like this one is just one of those guys that rarely gets used, but it is irregular. It's not that rarely gets used, it's that we rarely use it in class. It doesn't come in handy a whole lot. So you're just going to have to memorize that guy. But all the opposite ones are easy because this is get the 2 form. And then my nosotros guy is mantengamos, so it's just the yo form, adios O, and then the opposite ending. Okay. So last part of the quiz is, let's pick a different trigger. So we're going to say triste que. Es triste que nosotros. So it's sad that we maintain. Well, that's my emotion in front of a fact. So I can't just write the normal ending. So think about what your nosotros form is there. If it's not normal, what is it? The next one is we're going to write the health, which is la salud. It is, so think about what your word for it is, maintained. That word maintained is part 2, and it's the ed form of the word, and so that's the auto/edo form. But think about the fact that la salud is femenina, and you are describing la salud. Just like you would not say la chica es bonito, you would not say la salud with an O description at the end. So think about what that is. All right, and then the last two are we have maintained and we had maintained. Okay, so just to sum up, we had it's sad that we maintain, it is maintained, and the it is the health, la salud. We have maintained and we had maintained. So here's what I've got. Es triste que nosotros mantengamos, because this is the opposite form of the nosotros, because I triggered the opposite form. Here's the word la salud, which is the health. Here's the it is, está. Do you notice how this is auto-ito form? Like this is mantenido, but I switched the ito to the letter A because I need to match the fact that this is la salud and I'm describing the health. But be super careful. In the last two, here's the we have. Do you see how this is an O now? That's not an accident. That is an O because now it is a verb. So hemos mantenido means we have maintained our health, for example. That is an action, which means I am not describing anything, so I cannot change this letter to an A, okay? This is the past tense that says habíamos, and again, it would be mantenido, and you cannot change the end because it's not feminine. Okay, so I realized that I skipped number 4 and 5, so let me go backwards really quick. So how would you say we are going to maintain? We are going to maintain, and we are, what's the word? We are maintaining. Maintaining, ing. So we forgot the ones that have multiple parts. So these are the number 4 and 5. So we are going to maintain and we are maintaining. So here's we are going to maintain right here. Vamos a mantener. We are going to maintain. We are maintaining is estamos. That's the we are. Manteniendo. Please be careful with this huge word manteniendo because most people, if they miss something, that's what they missed. So what you should do is write out, I know it's annoying, but it saves you the point. Write out the whole verb. Take off your ending, which leaves me with manten, and then add your iendo. Okay, so that gets me to the correct word. So I took off the ending and then added my iendo, which is my ing. Okay, all right. At this point, just to summarize, you can go back to the beginning of the video, but I'm just gonna give you a little pop quiz. You can do a little mental pop quiz. You could do it on the board or just in your brain. What are the two main problems of Dar, Estar, and Mantener? Okay, in your brain, think, what are the two main problems? Cue Jeopardy music, thinking. Yes, you're correct. Person on the other side of this video. It is the yo form and the preterite are the main two issues. The yo form, dar, you say doy. Estar is estoy, and mantener is mantengo. Number 2 is the preterite. We talked about mantener and estar are really similar. Mantuve and estuve, mantuviste, estuviste, mantuvo, estuvo. And then dar, we talked about, looks more like what kind of verb? Yes, an IR. Diste, dio, dimos, dieron. Don't put any accents on number 2 at all on these quizzes because they're all super irregular. We talked about the fact that because dar is doy and estar is estoy, we cannot do the yo form, take off the o thing, which means that the opposite ending for dar is day, and the opposite ending for estar is estay. Make sure you get your accents on those guys. If you want to think about your quiz as a whole, we now have 14 questions times where we need it now. It is given, está dado. I have given, he dado. I had given, había dado. 3 times we had used dado. If you do not have 5 opposite ending verbs on your quiz, something's wrong. Why do we have 5? Because the commands have 4 of them. Positive usted, negative 2, nosotros. These guys are all opposite ending. We got one more, which is like, it is good that. I hope that. So if you're looking over your quiz, Think to yourself, do you have 3 autoitos? Do you have 5 opposite endings? Does your ing have the letter N in it? Does it have ondo or yendo on it? Do you have 2 stars on your quiz? Because we have I am giving, for example, estoy dando, and we have it is given, está dado. So we've got 2 stars on our quiz. Trying to wrap your brain around the different varieties of things that are on the quiz can help you double check for errors. Okay, you've got everything you need. So you've got this, you've got Quizlet, which I have a condensed one that's much shorter, and you've got the paper practice. It's just about doing it until it sticks. I know that's not fun, but you're going to want to do well on the last one because that's a 15-point quiz, and that's a great opportunity to rack in some points at the end of the semester. So make sure you do what it takes. If you have any questions, of course, hit me up in class or via Remind, and I hope it helped. Sorry it was so long. Hopefully it helped out. Adios.